Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 1609. The topic is mindset, and the title is Getting Back on Track is a Slow Process. And that's okay. So I wanted to share a story of one of my clients. So they have like crazy busy, nutso work schedule. And it caused them to fall off of their good food habits and out of rhythm with their training. They were eating breakfast maybe some days, lunch some days, and dinner some days. But they were very rarely eating all three, which led to super low calories, super low protein. They felt tired, soft, pudgy, no motivation, and that every day was just a rat race for survival. And if they trained, they had no motivation, no energy. Whatever they used to do felt unusually hard, and they felt like crap afterwards. They were in a bad place. Bad place. But we're now making some progress. So they wake up at 5:30 a.m. They have a home workout from 5:50 to 6:20. They actually set a timer to start at 5:50 and to stop at 6:20. Then they have a shake by 6:30. Kids are up at 6:30. They're managed and shipped out by 7:15. Then she has breakfast between 7:30 and 7:45. Then work begins at 8 o'clock. We have no prep daily foods and very easy prep evenings foods. They're back to 3 meals a day with 1 or 2 snacks during the day when they can fit them in. And they're back on track with calories and protein. They're also back on track with training. So they're training 3 to 4 times a week, 30 minutes at home. And even lately, they've gotten up 1 or 2 days here or there. They've gotten up at 5 a.m. to drive to the gym, which we're actually really close to, and do a gym workout from 5:30 to 6:10, which allowed us to add movements like leg press and a little bit heavier, more aggressive movements. So that way they can make faster progress. So they've been able to get themselves back on track. But it wasn't like, a 15-minute movie montage. It wasn't like, I made a couple changes, I set my mind right, then bam, everything was perfect. Hell no. So they said it took them, a few months. They fell off around December, like kind of November, mostly like November into December. They felt like they were, off the rails already by December because that's the peak time of the year for their job. In the end of December, kind of early January, they said they felt guilty. They tried to make some changes, but they kept falling back into bad habits and basically just hated on themselves. You always do this. You're always a loser. You're never disciplined, blah, 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 blah. All that hate talk, self-hate. Then February, they decided, that wasn't going to get them anywhere. Telling themselves they're a piece of crap wasn't going to help them not be a piece of crap. So they had to ditch the self-hate and they had to start working towards something. Try to make some changes. No matter what they were, even if they were small, just make some changes. It's been about 5 weeks of kind of rededicated effort with assistance from me. But we have them they're in a great routine. And for the past 3 weeks, they've absolutely crushed their goals. They have better energy, their body feels better, and they actually feel proud of themselves. And they're motivated and excited. They're back on track. But getting back on track is rarely an instant process. It takes time. It requires patience with yourself and a willingness to change your habits. Change some things that you think might be the only way that can be. You might have to make some changes. Now, whenever I was talking with that client, I was telling her a little backstory about my wife and I. So my wife and I, we met in 2019, and we actually moved in together at the very end of 2019, kind of the beginning of 2020. We don't say that year, I know. But that year that shall not be named, we moved in very early in that year. Then this whole thing, I guess kind of the whole world was aware of, might have happened. It actually led to Meredith. She lost her job. My job had to completely change. So with COVID restrictions and all that, everything had big changes. Her mother actually had a stroke in 2020 and needed to be moved from New Jersey down to South Carolina, and we became her full-time caretakers. And we got married. So that was cool. We actually did a Zoom wedding. So that was a pretty full year. A lot of stuff happened in that year that shall not be named. And it is now 2023. Ugh, how did it go by so fast? But it's 2023, and her and I are still working to figure out a new routine. She has a new and significantly better job, so yay for her. Her mother's more stable now, and my job has always been stable, thank you God. But the changes that I had to make to it now feel more stable. So we're just now getting a routine that we feel is allowing us to direct what's happening in our lives rather than just responding to it. So getting back on track takes time. It just requires so much patience, but it requires continuous effort, which is kind of a weird balance. You have to constantly try to do things while forgiving yourself for the things that don't work out. You do need to measure, aspects of progress, make sure you're actually making progress. For that client, for example, we measure calories, protein, frequency of exercise. Daily calories, daily protein, and frequency of exercise per week. So you have to track something to see if you are being able to get back on track. But you have to be patient. You have to be willing to experiment. And you have to be kind to yourself. So if you're struggling to get back on track, or if you'd like to get back on track, you can. You can do it. You have to believe in yourself enough to allow yourself to try. And then you have to forgive yourself enough to allow yourself to continue to try. But you can do it. One of the benefits of getting back on track being a slow process is that you can practice the changes. You can kind of work them into your regular life, like maybe make a new regular. But it gives you a chance to experiment, apply, and adjust. So that way, as you develop it, it becomes a new way of life, and it'll be there to stay. So getting back on track is a slow process, but that's okay. Well, that's it. It was a short one, but I just wanted to motivate people and let you know that it can be done, and that commonly what I see is people just hating on themselves so bad, and that kills their motivation. That kills the willingness to experiment, to try. If you feel like you're going to fail at everything, you don't want to try anything new, right? So you have to let go of some of that. You have to be willing to try some stuff. And it's not that you failed, it's just that idea failed. You're going to come up with a new idea and try the new one, right? Just try and try and try, and eventually you'll find the one that works. Okay? Well, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you stay motivated. Hope you stay kind to yourself. If you need anything, if you have any questions, again, our email is brutalirongym@gmail.com. I am always here. I am always happy to help. So as you run into any obstacles or struggles, just shoot me an email. I'll make a podcast for you, and everybody will be helped by it. Cool. Well, if you like our podcast, please share it. When you share it, let people know that they can ask questions for free. That's the whole point of the podcast, is ask me anything you want, and I'll make a podcast for you for free. Thank you to those who donate to support the podcast. You can donate on our website, www.brutalirongym.com. There is a high yearly cost for hosting. I give an hour to this thing every single day, so I really appreciate the donations. Even just $5 a month, it does add up, and it does make a big difference. So thank you to those who do that. If you like the information we share in our podcast, I always do post more on Instagram. You can find us and follow us there. And on YouTube, find us and follow us, both places under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.